I remember the sound before anything else. A glass hitting the marble floor, a sharp crack, then silence thick enough to choke on. The kind of silence that stretches, twisting itself around the edges of a life you thought was stable. It was 11:47 p.m. when she said it. Her voice wasn't trembling. It was calm, almost practiced. "None of my 4 lips belong to you anymore," she said. The words slithered into me like venom. I could feel their shape, cold, deliberate, final. She didn't even flinch when my jaw tightened or when the wine spilled down her wrist. I stood in the kitchen doorway, watching her. The woman I'd loved for 8 years. The woman whose debts I'd paid off when she lost her job. The woman I built a home with, brick by brick, loan by loan, promise by promise. And now, apparently, none of her lips, neither set, belonged to me. I tried to laugh. "You think that's funny?" She looked up. "It's honest." That word again. Honest. The word people use right before they twist the knife. The first crack. The first time I suspected something was off, it was small. She started showering before bed instead of in the morning. New perfume. New underwear. Subtle things. Nothing worth a fight, I told myself. I'd find lipstick stains on her coffee cup, even though she swore she hadn't worn any that day. Her phone started living face down. Notifications vanished faster than I could blink. But she'd still kiss me goodbye. She'd still hold my hand when we watched TV. She'd still say, "Love you," like punctuation, automatic, empty. And I clung to those tiny gestures like proof that she was still mine. Because it's easier to believe a comfortable lie than face a truth that shatters your foundation. The night of the reveal. We were supposed to be celebrating. She'd finally gotten a freelance contract, her first in months. I'd made dinner, steak, garlic butter, asparagus. The same meal we had the night we bought the house. But she barely touched her plate. Her fingers kept circling the stem of her wine glass, over and over, until her skin turned red. When I asked what was wrong, she said, "We need to talk." And in those 4 words, I felt the ground tilt. Then she said the sentence that split me open. The confession. "I've been seeing someone." I didn't breathe. Didn't blink. Didn't move. The world narrowed to her mouth, to the calm way her lips shaped the words. "How long?" I asked. 3 months. The number hit like a sledgehammer. Long enough to build intimacy. To fall into rhythms. To have routines. "Who?" She looked away. "You don't know him." That was a lie. I saw it in her eyes. The same flicker she used to give me when she'd hide surprise gifts or secret plans. Except this wasn't love, it was cowardice. My throat burned. "Why?" She hesitated. "Because you stopped looking at me." That sentence somehow hurt more than the rest. Because part of me knew it was true. Somewhere between the bills, the overtime, and the quiet exhaustion of routine, I had stopped noticing. I loved her, but from a distance, like a painting hung too high to touch. But still, I had never stopped being there. "You think I didn't notice you were slipping away?" said. "You think I didn't try?" She shook her head. "You tried to fix me. Not love me." The breaking point. She poured herself another glass, as if this were just another Thursday. That's when I snapped. "Who's paying your credit card bill next month?" I asked. She froze. "Who's covering the car payment? Or the house loan I refinanced so you could start your business?" Her eyes darted toward me. "That's not fair. Neither is cheating." She set down the glass. Her face softened, but there was no guilt in it, just detachment. "I don't want your money," she said quietly. "I don't want your pity. I just don't want you." It was like she'd rehearsed it. Like the version of me she once loved had already been buried months ago. And that's when I said it. The words I didn't plan, the ones that came from somewhere deep and raw. "Then live with your debts alone." The aftermath. She flinched, not at the volume but at the truth. Because she couldn't. She couldn't handle the mortgage, the car, the loans. She needed me. But she didn't want me. I grabbed my keys and walked out. I didn't pack. Didn't look back. The house felt smaller than ever, every room echoing with the ghost of us. The drive was a blur. I remember the rain, the way the streetlights bled through the windshield. My hands were shaking, but not from anger. From clarity. It wasn't just that she'd betrayed me. It was that she'd made me complicit in her comfort. I'd built a safety net that let her fall into someone else's arms without consequence. Twist. 3 weeks later she called. Her voice was soft. "I'm sorry," she said. "I made a mistake." I was silent. She continued. "He left. Said I was too complicated." I almost laughed. "And now you want me to what? Fix it?" "No," she whispered. "I just wanted you to know I'm selling the house." "You can't," I said. "It's in both our names." "I know," she replied. "But I already found a buyer. Someone who can pay off my half." Something in her tone felt off. Too smooth. Too controlled. Later I learned who the buyer was. The man she cheated with. She'd planned it all. The affair wasn't about love. It was about leverage. She'd used me to clean up her financial mess, then jumped to a new savior once I was no longer convenient. But her plan fell apart when he left her. The resolution. The next morning I met with my lawyer. We froze the joint assets, stopped the sale, and filed for separation. By the time she realized, it was too late. Every financial tie between us was gone. Every debt that was once shared now rested squarely on her. When she showed up at my apartment a week later, she looked nothing like the woman who'd left. Her hair was messy, her eyes hollow. "You really did it," she said. He nodded. "You said none of your lips belonged to me. I just listened." She laughed, but it came out broken. "I didn't think you'd actually walk away." "Neither did I admitted. "But sometimes you have to lose everything to see who you were really protecting." She didn't answer. She just stood there, trembling. Then she said the quietest thing I've ever heard from her lips. "I thought you'd fight for me." I looked at her for a long time. "I did. Every day. Until you stopped being someone worth fighting for. And then I closed the door." Epilogue. It's strange how silence feels after betrayal. Not peaceful. Not empty. But still. I've learned that love doesn't die in one moment. It dies in the little ones. Missed dinners. Half-hearted hugs. Lies that sound like apologies. She was right about one thing though. None of her lips belonged to me anymore. But neither do her debts, her chaos, or her guilt. And for the first time in years that feels like freedom.